Hi, Nazia. I can't hear you.
Now you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Hi. So this is Devika from Next Genius.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, good. So we'll just wait for like 2 minutes. We'll see for more people to join, and then we can start.
All right. How many participants do we have today?
Okay, so I'll just make you a co-host along with me, so that even you can have the access to the part.
Sure.
Yeah. Just a second. All right, so I think I cannot make you the co-host here, but so yeah, I'll just let you know. So as of now, we have 30 participants, and we will also be going live on our Facebook page. I will shortly go live, so once the limit crosses, others can join us on the Facebook page.
Okay, so can I start sharing my screen?
Yes, you can.
We already have 30.
If you don't mind, we'll just wait for a minute more.
All right.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Okay, so hi everybody. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah, were you saying something?
Are you going to moderate this, right?
Yeah, so I will just say a few things that they should know, and then you can begin. Okay, so we'll also be recording this session. So in case you all miss out watching us here or on Facebook page, you all can definitely watch the recorded video that we'll be posting on our YouTube channel. And towards the 15-minute end of the session, Nazia will be answering to your questions. So you all can post your questions below in the Q&A box, and we'll answer them live so that everybody else can benefit from the same. And of course, also if you are in your grade 12 and or in your gap year and you are looking forward to apply to Next Genius, so our registrations for the year 2020 have already begun, and you can go to our website and register with us. And welcome to this profile building webinar with InChin Closer, and over to you, Nazia.
Hi, welcome everyone. I'm going to share my screen so that you can see my presentation. Is everyone able to see this?
Yes.
All right. So welcome to InChin Closer. InChin Closer is essentially a Mandarin language institute. So who is InChin Closer, right? How did we start? Where did we come from? It was started by me. My name is Nazia Vasi, and I have a Chinese partner. Her name is Wang Xiaojie. This is Wang Xiaojie right here. She's teaching one of our classes right in the beginning. So we're both women entrepreneurs that started this company. We have a very interesting beginning because both of us actually lived in each other's countries. So I lived in Shanghai, China for 3 years from 2006 to 2009. And Wang Xiaojie lived in India, in Bombay, from 2008 to 2012. So we both experienced each other's countries. We've lived, we've traveled, we've worked, we had friends, boyfriends, everything in each other's countries, right? Which is why we realized that India and China are actually very similar. And based on our experiences of understanding that India and China are very similar, also based on our conversations, right, with Indians in China and Chinese people in India, we decided to set up InChin Closer because we realized that language and culture was at the crux of the miscommunication that we had between the two countries. Because if we could not speak to each other, if we didn't understand each other's cultures, there was a huge gap. And as a result, Indians had the misconception that Chinese eat everything that is 4 legs but not a table. And the Chinese had a misconception that, the Indians are very dirty and always late and all of that. So we tried to break these misconceptions because we realized that there was a lot in common, there was a lot more similarity between India and China than was actually being talked about. So that is why we decided to create a platform. So InChin Closer is essentially a platform for language and culture to help Indians understand China better and to help the Chinese understand India better, right? So we were established in 2010, and we have been teaching Mandarin for the last 10 years. So we're actually the first institute in Bombay that started. So we actually set up the entire system of how to teach, how much to charge, what are the different certifications and everything. As a result, we're also endorsed by the People's Republic of China, the consulate in Mumbai. They've endorsed us because of our quality of education and also because we have been teaching Mandarin for so many years. Yep. So that's who we are and where we come from. We're going to go into our USP. Why is InChin Closer so different? Why are we unusual, right? We're the only institute in India, I would say, that has native Chinese teachers as our faculty. Now, why is it important to have native Chinese teachers as your faculty? It's because Mandarin is a tonal language. So if I say ma and I say ma, it actually makes the difference between calling your mother a horse, right? Because ma means mother and ma means horse. So it's very important to have native Chinese teachers to teach you because they have grown up listening to that tonal language. Their ears are very accustomed and attuned towards these tones, which you don't find in any other language, right? We don't find that in French and Spanish and Hindi and Marathi. We're not accustomed to listening to those tones, which is why it becomes difficult for Indian teachers to actually be able to teach you the correct pronunciation, right? So it's very important to have native Chinese faculty. We also have an international certification course in Mandarin. So if you're looking at applying abroad, this becomes very important, right? It's called the HSK, and I will be talking about it later. There are 6 levels to this HSK. And it is a standardized test that is given by the Ministry of Education in Beijing. So we can conduct our courses, train you towards this HSK examination, and we can help you to take this HSK examination right here in India. You then get that certification from China, and you are able to show that to any university as part of your applications in China, in the US or Europe or anywhere in the world, and it will be accepted, right? We also are one of the few Mandarin institutes that have gone live online because we have native Chinese teachers. We don't need recorded videos that are just mass produced for everyone. Okay, we take very specific attention to each student and how each student is learning, and which is why the live sessions are very important. They're also designed around each student's pace, goal, and learning objectives. So we understand what the student's goal is and what their learning objectives are, and then we can custom make a course towards that as well. Over the past 10 years, we have taught more than 3,000 students Mandarin. So we've taught them either at our centers, which are in Bombay. We can also teach in Delhi. We've also been teaching online since the COVID situation took place. And we've been teaching at many companies. We have been teaching at many schools. So if you can see my little image over here on the side, you can see that we've taught at the Oberoi School, we've taught at the American School in Bombay, we've taught at many international schools. We're also currently teaching at Bombay Scottish in Bombay, right? So we have student-focused quality education, which is very important to us, right? The student is at the crux of what we're doing. All right. So why Mandarin? Why would most of y'all want to choose Mandarin, right? So Mandarin is one of the most widely spoken languages in the world. Like you can see this chart over here by Statistica. If you speak Hindi and Mandarin, so I'm assuming all Indian students can at least speak Hindi, even if we're international school students, right? And if you can speak Mandarin, it is just by sheer population, you can speak to more than half the world's population, which is a huge and staggering number considering you have Spanish, you have Arabic, you have Portuguese, all these other languages that so many millions of people also speak, right? So this gives you a huge advantage even when you're looking for internships, if you're looking for jobs later on, to get an international job, knowing Hindi and Mandarin is your golden ticket, yeah? Another reason why you should learn Mandarin is because, just a sec. Yep. Another reason you should learn Mandarin is because it has been an increasing trend with college students as well. So like you can see, Spanish, Portuguese, German, French are on the decline, right? Not so many people are learning these languages versus learning Chinese is growing. Japanese, Arabic, and especially Korean. Korean, we have realized, is very popular because a lot of people are watching Korean sitcoms. So they're very interested in learning Korean. But if you see, Chinese is a growing language as well. It's also because the trade with China is growing, and China's pie in this entire world economy, the share of this pie is growing. China's influence is growing, which is why people in universities, college students, all want to learn Mandarin, right? It also gives you a huge advantage because there are very few Indian students who yet claim to know Mandarin. So like I was saying earlier, if you know Hindi and Mandarin, it's your golden ticket. This really helps because the thing is that very few Indian students applying to universities abroad that actually claim Mandarin as a foreign language that they know. So if you say that you know Mandarin and if you have the HSK certification to prove it, that gives you a huge advantage into getting into any university because you can claim Mandarin as your foreign language, which will set you apart. It makes you unique. It makes you different. It makes your application stand out, right? So it becomes very important to say that you know Mandarin as a third language or a second language versus claiming that you know Spanish or French, which a lot of people already know. And it's not so unusual. It's not so unique. All right. So why is it important for Indians specifically to learn Mandarin? Is because the FDI is growing in India, okay? The Chinese have invested a significant amount in India. I know that there are rules and regulations now, there's a policy that has been implied against FDI in India. But if you see, there are 92 Indian startups that have just been funded by Tencent, okay? Alibaba and ByteDance. So they're large Indian brands like Paytm, Byju's, Oyo, Ola, okay? And if you're looking at being an entrepreneur, there are 18 of 30 Indian unicorns have a Chinese investor. And all of these guys, all these finance guys come to us to learn Mandarin because they need to speak to their Chinese investors. They need to talk in legal terms, they need to talk in financial terms, they need to understand how much money is getting put in, they need to just build networks, right? And it becomes very important if you speak their language, you will automatically see that doors open up. So it becomes a lot easier to do business with the Chinese, to get Chinese investment, to get Chinese FDI, if you speak their language. Okay, so I was telling you about the international certification in Mandarin. It is called the HSK, which stands for Hanyu Shuiping Kaoshi. There are 6 levels to the HSK, and InChin Closer can take you from level 1 right through to level 6. Because we have native Chinese teachers, we also have created our own textbooks. Okay, so we have multiple levels. There is a beginners, an intermediate, and an advanced. And we have created our own course curriculum because we have understood that Indian students have a unique advantage and a unique way of learning Mandarin. Okay, which is why we have created our own course curriculum to help Indians and Chinese to learn each other's languages. So the beginners course teaches you basics about basic pronunciation, how to order food at a restaurant, how to introduce yourself to a Chinese person, how to exchange money at a bank. So basic conversational Mandarin is what you will learn at the beginners level. For the intermediate and advanced levels, you will move on and you will learn a little bit more about the language. You'll start learning comparisons. We'll start teaching you the Mandarin script. So like you know, Mandarin script is slightly difficult. It's slightly different. It doesn't have an alphabet. So we will teach you how to read, write, listen, and speak Mandarin. Okay. We have created, together with native Chinese teachers, we have created a very structured syllabus. And the syllabus is meant specifically for Indians. So we have studied the situations that Indians find themselves in. For example, when you go to China, you should be able to order vegetarian food because majority of our population is vegetarian, right? And a lot of people going to China get stuck because they don't know how to order vegetarian food or say that they are vegetarian. So we have understood these experiences that people have. We have structured it according to the HSK levels, and we have created a special syllabus for Indians who want to learn Mandarin. All right. Like I told you earlier, we're also endorsed by the People's Republic of China because we have created our own course curriculum. And it's tried, tested, and extremely effective because we have been doing this for the past 10 years. We have been sending many of our students to China. They have been able to speak Mandarin with native Chinese people without any issue. And it's actually a very proud moment for us, right? Because we say that our final test, more than the HSK, comes when you are able to go to China and actually speak with native Chinese people. You're able to make Chinese friends. That's the ultimate test, which is amazing. And we've seen it with so many of our students who are able to go to China and easily integrate into the language, the culture, make friends, all of that. All right. So our courses, we have courses on both weekdays and weekends. We specialize in teaching students who are above the age of 15. So it's mostly adults. We don't teach kids so much. We have very small groups of students because we like to keep it interactive. We also like to keep a very small ratio between the students and the teacher. Okay, because having a large classroom does not benefit you in learning a language. So it's 5 to 10 students in a class. If you want, we also have private classes. We will teach you all 4 skills, which is reading, writing, listening, and speaking Mandarin, right? So it's a holistic learning that you are doing. We're also going to be teaching you a lot about the culture. And this, our students have said, becomes very interesting, right? Because if you have native Chinese teachers, you're able to bring out a lot of the culture as well, and then see the similarities between Indian and Chinese culture. So it becomes very interesting for our students to learn about a new culture besides just knowing the language. We have cutting edge technology. So we've gone online and we're using Zoom classes to teach live. But in addition to that, we're also using Quizlet for digital flashcards. We're using other technology that helps make our classes a lot more fun, and interactive, and engaging to learn with. So it's not just about the teacher talking, but it's about the student interacting, right? So we've tried to replicate the classroom environment that we had in the class, which was very interactive, also online, because the thing is that the student needs to be able to speak Mandarin. You need to be able to talk. And in class is your only chance to be able to speak Mandarin. So if the classes are not interactive, they're not engaging, they're not fun, you're not going to want to stay in that class, right? We have both internal as well as international assessments. So we're constantly testing our students to make sure that they have learned what we have taught, that they have understood it, and we keep on reviewing it to see that they can apply what we have taught. This application becomes extremely important, okay? Which is also why our classes are so interactive and engaging. The international assessment is to do with the HSK, which I have said is the course material trains you towards this certification, and we can help you to give this exam online as well, right? So I was telling you about the 3 levels that we have. There's a beginner's level. Most people ask us for the fees. So the beginner's fees are 25,000. The intermediate and advanced fees are 28,000. The beginner's class is for 45 hours, and the intermediate and advanced classes are for 36 hours each. All right. So why learn Mandarin with InChin Closer, right? The most important thing I would tell you is that we teach you practical Mandarin so that you are able to go and speak in China, right? This is what is very important to us, is that if you are looking at a job in international relations, if you're looking at being a diplomat, if you're looking at studying policy, this becomes very important because you should be able to speak and you should be able to read and write text in Mandarin. You should be able to read their documents so that you're not dependent on a translator or an interpreter. This is also very important for businessmen. We have a lot of students who want to take over their parents' family business. Yeah. And it becomes important for people to learn Mandarin because once they go to China, they're otherwise stuck. They need to get an interpreter, you need to get a translator, and then many people just don't know what is happening because you say a lot in English, you explain it to the interpreter, and the interpreter will probably just say 5 lines and then reply back to you. And you're like, but I gave you this whole 20-minute conversation and all you've said is 5 lines. Is that it? And that just doesn't help because you feel helpless. You feel that you're not able to bring your point across, right? But if you learn Mandarin and if you're actually able to speak to your customer, your client, anybody that you need to speak to in Mandarin, right? You can actually get your point across and you can tell them exactly what you feel, exactly what you want. You can tell them exactly how much you want. You can build that relationship with them, okay? So speaking Mandarin becomes important. It reduces your dependency on a third party. You're not dependent on somebody else who has to translate for you, who has to interpret for you, and is probably saying things in the wrong way or is miscommunicating. You're going to eliminate all of that and you're going to have the control in your hands, which is very important, okay? There are also many internship opportunities. Like I told you earlier, there are many job opportunities, both with Chinese companies in India, as well as Indian and Chinese companies or companies in Southeast Asia. Because a majority of Southeast Asia does speak Mandarin. It has now become the language of business in Southeast Asia because of China's growing influence. So even if you're looking for opportunities in Singapore, in Hong Kong, in Malaysia, in Thailand, in Vietnam, Japan, Mandarin is going to help you. Yeah, anywhere in the world. We have a lot of people who are interested in Japan are also studying Mandarin first because the Japanese language originated from Mandarin. So the origins of the language are Mandarin, which is why a lot of people first learn Mandarin and then also learn Japanese. Okay. We have native Chinese teachers, like I said, so it's very important to get the pronunciation, to speak correct Mandarin. So you can, once you learn Mandarin with the correct pronunciation, you're able to go and confidently speak in China. This becomes extremely important, right? That confidence level where if you're talking to a friend or you're talking to a customer or a client, plus you already know, you will understand their culture, you will know their culture, so it'll be easier. Okay, in the intermediate and advanced classes, because you have learned a lot more of Mandarin, we also teach you a lot more of business etiquette. So how to do business with the Chinese. What are the cultural nuances of doing business with the Chinese, right? At the end of the day, it helps you to become a global citizen. So we know a lot about the West. We know a lot about America and Europe's culture. A lot of us have traveled there. A lot of us have seen that culture firsthand. We've seen it through Hollywood movies. We understand it. We know very little about the East. And we have a lot of students who now come to us and say, you know, we've learned so much about the West. We want to learn about the East. I want to learn an Eastern language to understand their culture, to understand their thinking, so that I have a holistic understanding of the world and it's not biased. This COVID-19 situation has brought us into a very interesting point because we now have the best Mandarin instructors. So because we're teaching online in live classes, we're able to get native Chinese teachers, the best native Chinese teachers from around the world to cater to different time zones. So we're able to learn at any time, at any place, and at a pace convenient to you. All right. So these are the advantages of learning Mandarin with InChin Closer. I have a small student testimonial, which I can show you in a second. I think I'll have to stop screen share and actually change the settings.
Okay, sure, no problem.
So this is one of Next Genius's students. His name is Devansh. He is at study. He is enrolled to study international relations, and he has been learning Mandarin with us. He's done the beginner's course. On Monday, in fact, is his test. So I asked him to do a short testimonial for us, so you can listen to him.
Hi, I'm Devansh Goyal, and I'm going to have a food college this year, hopefully. The main reason I wanted to learn Mandarin was that I'm deeply interested in international relations, and China is the country that attracts me the most. I wanted to learn more about their culture, and I thought that learning their language is the best place to start. The reason I chose InChin Closer over other classes was their focus on cultural immersion. In fact, my college counselor recommended InChin Closer to me. And I guess their teaching methodology is very unique and engaging, and the games and Quizlet are my most favorite part of the class.
Awesome. So that was Devansh's testimonial, and these are the classes that we have. I'll just enlarge the screen so you can see. So we've created two classes that are going to start. One will start on the 1st of August until the 17th of October. It's going to be every Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 12 p.m. Is the fees, the hours, and the international level of Mandarin that you will learn. The last date of registration is on the 28th of July, right?
Yes.
There are two courses that we're going to start. The second one is on the 3rd of August to the 9th of October. It's going to be on weekdays, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in the evenings from 5 to 6:30 p.m. The fees, the hours, the level, and the last date of registration remain the same, okay? If you are interested in joining any one of these beginners Mandarin classes, all you need to do is a very simple 2-step procedure. The first part is to fill in the application form on the InChin Closer website. So if you go to www.inchincloser.com, you will see in orange right on top on our home page, it says register here. If you click on that, it leads you to the details of these 2 beginners courses as well as our application form. Please fill in the form in totality and hit submit. Once you hit submit, on the email ID provided, you will get the payment details of how to make the payment. Obviously now all payments are online. So the next step is to then make the payment. And that's it. We don't need your Aadhaar card or a passport sized photograph and all of that. We don't need any kind of complication. Very simple, fill in the application form and make the payment. Yep. So the dates and times of these classes are also on our website. You can have a look at it. But it's also here in case anybody is interested in joining any one of these batches, right? Both will be taught by native Chinese teachers. Both will give you this international certification, and everything else remains the same. Yeah, everything that I've described before. All right, that's about it from me. These are our contact details. So the website is inchincloser.com. This is our number, 98700-90966. And you can also email us on learnmandarin@inchincloser.com. All right.
Perfect.
If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Yes, so there are a few questions in the Q&A box if you would like to answer them.
Okay, I haven't seen this yet.
So are you having access to those questions? Can you see them?
I can.
Okay, sure.
So the first one says, does knowing Mandarin Chinese help in learning Mandarin, or does it not affect? I didn't understand this question. Does it not affect what? But basically, learning Mandarin Chinese does help you, and I have shown you how it is very important in learning the language, right? Neha, do we need to learn Chinese simplified or traditional? This is a good question. You will be learning simplified Mandarin. Actually, Chinese is not really the language. It's like saying that you know Indian, which is not really a language, right? We have so many languages within India. So it's Mandarin that you will be learning specifically. And to be more specific, you will be learning simplified Mandarin, because simplified Mandarin is what is spoken on mainland China. Okay, it's also easier to learn, but that is what is spoken on mainland China. Traditional Mandarin is what is spoken only in Taiwan. So simplified Mandarin is what we teach, and that is what is the national language for most of Southeast Asian countries as well, because that is the language for mainland China. If I have already done the HSK and given an exam with another organization, and if so, I wanted to learn from you, will I have to redo the level or can I continue? You don't need to redo the level. What we do is we run a proficiency test to make sure that you have a certain level of Mandarin, and then you can join our intermediate or advanced course depending on how you do in the proficiency test. So once you clear the proficiency test, we can understand your level in Mandarin and thereby guide you onto which InChin Closer level you need to join, right? All right, what is the difference about Indians that makes this course so suitable for them? One major difference that makes this really interesting for Indians to learn is that we teach Mandarin using Hindi phonetics, because Hindi is a highly phonetic language. Okay, so we use Hindi to teach Mandarin phonetics. We also incorporate a lot of cultural similarities between India and China. and which is why it's easier then to understand each other's countries from our own perspectives. Then you're not looking at China as a foreigner or an alien or somebody who's different to you. Rather, you start seeing the similarities. So you know that India and China are a lot more similar rather than different. And the third reason is that because we have created our own course curriculum, so we have the adventures of a Mr. and Mrs. Mehta. So we've taken a typical Indian couple, and it is their journey across China. All right. So our beginner's book starts with Mr. and Mrs. Mehta's journey in Shanghai. The intermediate book takes them to Hangzhou, which is where the headquarters of Alibaba are. And the advanced book takes them to Beijing. So we not only understand the culture, we understand it through Hindi, we understand it through Indian experiences, typical experiences, like I said earlier, that Indians have in China, right? Which is, these three pillars is why it is so crucial for, and it's so easy, in fact, for Indians to learn Mandarin. Yeah. Will you teach, again, it's the same question, will you teach Chinese simplified or traditional? I've already answered this question. Can you attend the intermediate and advanced courses directly? No, if you have no past experience in the language, if you have not learned Mandarin before, you need to learn Mandarin from the basics, right? You need to start with the first standard. You cannot join a school and say, I want to start from the 6th standard, because you have to pass through the levels to learn a language in sequence. So similarly, you will start with the beginner's level and then subsequently move to intermediate and advanced. Yep. Is this course recommended for high schoolers? Yes, this course is recommended for high schoolers. 9th and 10th standards are fine. We're happy to teach you. How long is the course and how many classes do you take? Like I've said, the beginner's course is for 45 hours. The intermediate and advanced are for 36 hours each. The classes depend on the hours. So it's usually about 2 hours or 1.5 hours for each class. If it's 1.5 hours for 45 hours, then it's 30 sessions each. Yeah. How can you register for these classes? I've just told you, please go to our website, which is www.inchincloser.com. Right on top in orange, it will say register now. Click on that and fill in the application form. It's very simple. Once you're done with the application form, you'll get an email, which will give you the payment details, and you can make the payment for the specific class that you would like to join. If most people are to teach are 15 or more, then don't you think we already know what you're saying and you're not really teaching us anything? If you just feel like you're promoting. We're not really just promoting ourselves. We are not teaching 15 or more. We're teaching less students because we have that personal interaction between students. When and how will we get the certificate for this webinar? I don't know. I guess Next Genius will tell you when you're getting the certificate for the webinar. Yes, I can send this PPT to all registered participants. The cost of the textbooks is included in the fees as well as the taxes, right? So cost of materials as well as the taxes are all included in the fees that I have mentioned. How much time does it take to get the HSK certificate at the highest? So basically, if you want to complete all 6 levels of HSK, it would take you about 3 or 4 years to learn the language in its entirety. It's not a very easy language. It takes time to learn and it takes a lot of practice, especially because the script is slightly different. Yeah. Where do we get the beginner's book from? Is the cost? Yes, like I've said earlier, because all the material is online, we will be giving you all this material online and we will be sharing it, our textbooks on all the material that we have online. The cost of the book and everything is included in the fees. Yeah. How many students in one class? I've said there would be about 5 to maximum 10 students in a class. We don't want to have a very big class, but we want to have a small class to keep that duration. Are there any other questions? I think I've covered all of them.
Yes.
Seems that most of them are interested in the cost. So yes, the cost includes everything. This is a final cost. There is nothing additional to this cost. Yep, that's it. Is there anything else?
I think you have answered all the questions. And to those who said that, I think one or two students have joined late and they asked, how can we get the initials of the meeting? So we were also live on our Facebook. We are still live on our Facebook. So you can watch the recording from Facebook. And as well as we will be posting the session is being recorded. So this will be posted on our YouTube channel as well. If you just search for Next Genius Scholarship Program on YouTube. So the ones who really want to go through it again and are willing to go through it again can watch it either on Facebook Live, recorded, and or on YouTube.
I can also send, I can send you an email with the details of the classes that are there that I have just shown over here. And right here, right? So you can have a look at the classes, and I can also share an email for those who are interested with a direct link to the registration form page so that it makes it easier for you to sign up. Will we learn the English version of the script of the Mandarin or the traditional Mandarin script? You will be learning. So the English version is called Pinyin, and in the beginner's level, you will start with using that. But the ultimate aim is to get you guys to read and write using the Mandarin script. Okay, so it's very important that you learn to read and write in Mandarin as well. So eventually we will transition you off into reading and writing simplified Mandarin. Yep, that's it.
Okay, perfect. I can say I myself am intrigued to learn the language now.
Awesome. How many students? I have mentioned this earlier. There are 5 to 10 students in every class. No more. Yes, we don't want a very big classroom. I'm not running a factory. The most important thing for me is to make sure that you guys are learning Mandarin and are able to apply the language in China. So yeah, welcome. We're happy to have you. And if you guys can see my screen, this is the character for come. It is lai in Mandarin. So you can learn one word. It's lai, which means to come. And that's the character for Mandarin, for come in Mandarin. So we hope that you can come to our classes and join us very soon.
That's very interesting. So I thought we already learned one thing from this webinar, lai. Okay, thank you so much, Nazia. It was a very, very interesting session. And I must say that, of course, learning a new language is always a life skill. I personally believe that you get added on with your life skill. And I don't think that any person who knows more than 2 or 3 languages is not a dynamic thinker. And research already says that. So we do believe with that if you can learn more languages, you definitely become a dynamic thinker, and your mind gets wired differently. You think in different ways. And of course, how can I miss saying that it is a very important profile building skill that we just
It
had.
is a very important profile building skill, which is why I showed the importance of China and of knowing Mandarin in the beginning.
Yes, it's not about the country, but it's about the importance of language. So,
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay. So thank you, Nazia. Thank you so much once again. We hope to see you around.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.